The moment Alex lifted the DC Open trophy, everyone expected the usual celebration. Cameras flashed, confetti filled the air, and fans roared as she smiled through one of the biggest moments of her career. It looked like the perfect ending to a dream week. But just when people thought the story was over, Alex said something that instantly changed the conversation across the tennis world. After collecting the biggest prize money check of her career, worth more than $252,000, she revealed that the money wasn't what mattered most to her. Instead of talking about luxury purchases, investments, or celebrating her success, she turned the spotlight toward the people who had stood behind her from the very beginning. The fans, the families, the Filipino community that had transformed Washington into what felt like a home tournament. In that moment, people weren't just talking about a champion. They were talking about the kind of person Alex had become. It was a remarkable ending to one of the greatest weeks of her young career. She had battled through an unbelievably difficult draw, taking down an Olympic gold medalist, eliminating the defending champion, overcoming a four-time Grand Slam champion, defeating one of the world's best players, and proving match after match that she belonged among tennis' biggest stars. Every victory seemed more impressive than the last. Every round pushed her higher. By the end of the tournament, she wasn't simply holding a trophy. She had climbed to a career-best world ranking and made history as the first Filipina ever to win a WTA 500 title. For many players, that would have been enough. Most athletes dream of reaching a milestone like that just once in their lifetime. But what happened after the final was what truly captured people's hearts. When reporters asked Alex about the prize money, many expected a typical answer. Maybe she'd save it. Maybe she'd invest it into her career. Maybe she'd reward herself after an unforgettable week. Instead, she spoke about the supporters who had filled the stadium every single day. She talked about the people waving Philippine flags from the opening match to the championship point. She remembered the families who had driven for hours just to watch her compete. She thought about children who stayed up late hoping to witness history. Rather than making the moment about herself, she made it about everyone who had shared the journey with her. That response perfectly reflected everything fans had already come to admire about Alex. Even while becoming one of the fastest rising stars in women's tennis, she never allowed success to change her perspective. After reaching the semifinals earlier in the tournament, she had already made it clear that she still had plenty to improve. She spoke openly about wanting to become not only a better player, but also a better person. At just 21 years old, she refused to believe she had arrived at the top. She understood that every achievement was simply another step forward, not the finish line. That humble mindset has become one of the biggest reasons so many people connect with her. Throughout the week, the atmosphere inside the stadium was unlike anything many tennis fans had ever seen in Washington. Every time Alex walked onto the court, waves of Philippine flags filled the stands. Chants echoed through the arena before the first serve was even struck. Supporters traveled from neighboring states, making long drives, booking hotels, and adjusting work schedules just to witness history unfold. They celebrated every winner, every comeback, and every emotional victory as though they were experiencing it themselves. It wasn't just support. It felt like an entire community carrying one of its own towards something extraordinary. That connection became stronger with every match. As Alex kept defeating higher-ranked opponents, the energy only grew louder. By the championship match, the crowd had transformed the venue into a sea of red, blue, yellow, and white. Television viewers around the world noticed it. Commentators couldn't stop mentioning it. Even neutral tennis fans found themselves cheering for the remarkable story unfolding before their eyes. Alex wasn't simply winning tennis matches anymore. She was inspiring millions of people who saw themselves reflected in her determination and resilience. That's why her words after the victory resonated so deeply. While many champions focus on personal glory, Alex made it clear that none of this felt possible without the people standing behind her. She understood that every cheer had given her confidence during difficult moments. Every flag reminded her of where she came from. Every supporter in the crowd made the pressure easier to handle. Instead of viewing her fans as spectators, she viewed them as part of the journey itself. That perspective is incredibly rare in professional sports, where success often creates distance between athletes and the people who help them reach the top. Alex seemed determined not to let that happen. Even after making history, she continued speaking with the same humility that defined her before the tournament began. She smiled with gratitude rather than entitlement. She celebrated with appreciation instead of arrogance. Those qualities made her victory feel even more meaningful because fans weren't just watching an incredible athlete. They were watching someone who genuinely understood the importance of giving back. Her remarkable week in Washington may have ended with a championship trophy, but it also marked the beginning of something much bigger. The victories announced her arrival among the world's elite. The history books recorded her incredible achievement, but it was her appreciation for the people who believed in her that left the deepest impression. Long after the final point is forgotten and the statistics fade into history, many fans will remember the way Alex embraced the community that stood beside her every step of the way. That unforgettable combination of talent, humility, and gratitude is exactly why so many believe this is only the beginning. If this incredible run was her introduction to the tennis world, then the future could be even more extraordinary because champions win matches, but the athletes who leave a lasting legacy are the ones who never forget the people who helped them get there. The incredible support surrounding Alex wasn't just visible inside the stadium. It was changing the tournament itself. Fans weren't simply showing up to watch tennis. They were planning entire trips around her matches. Families booked hotel rooms weeks in advance, secured tickets as soon as they became available, and organized their schedules so they wouldn't miss a single moment of her run. Everywhere Alex went, the energy followed. It quickly became clear that this wasn't ordinary fan support. It had grown into something much bigger. Tournament officials couldn't ignore what was happening. Chairman Mark Ein revealed that the overwhelming majority of ticket inquiries centered around one player. According to him, more than 80% of fans contacting the tournament wanted to know exactly when Alex would be playing. He even admitted he believed the real number was probably higher. For organizers who had hosted countless top stars over the years, it was something they had rarely witnessed. The excitement surrounding Alex had become one of the biggest stories of the entire event. Even more remarkable was the fact that this wave of enthusiasm had started long before the tournament began. Months earlier, organizers noticed her popularity growing at an incredible pace. They recognized that something special was happening and made a determined effort to bring her to Washington. Looking back, they described her participation as one of the greatest successes of the tournament. They understood they weren't simply inviting another talented player. They were welcoming an athlete capable of inspiring an entire community to rally behind her. Alex herself could hardly believe the response. When she learned how many fans had specifically purchased tickets hoping to watch her compete, her reaction was filled with genuine gratitude rather than surprise. She admitted that playing in Washington made her feel incredibly loved. Knowing so many people had come to support her gave every match a different kind of energy. At the same time, she confessed that she sometimes forgot just how much influence she had begun to carry. Seeing thousands of supporters in the stands still caught her off guard because she never viewed herself as bigger than the game. That humility continued to shine through no matter how much success came her way. As the tournament progressed, the crowd became almost like an extra teammate. Every spectacular winner triggered deafening cheers. Every hard-fought point brought fans to their feet. The atmosphere intensified with each round until the entire stadium seemed to move with every swing of Alex's racket. During her unforgettable clash with Naomi Osaka, the energy reached another level. The noise echoed through the arena, creating an environment unlike anything spectators had experienced all week. Even seasoned veterans who had played on the biggest stages in tennis would have noticed how unique the atmosphere had become. Whenever people praised Alex for attracting such passionate support, she consistently redirected the attention away from herself. Instead of accepting the spotlight, she spoke proudly about the Filipino community. She explained that the excitement wasn't simply about one player. It reflected the pride, unity, and passion of people coming together to support one of their own. That response perfectly captured why fans admired her so deeply. She never separated her success from the people who celebrated every milestone alongside her. Every victory belonged to them just as much as it belonged to her. Of course, none of the celebration would have happened without an extraordinary performance on the court. Before she could even think about lifting a trophy, Alex had to navigate one of the toughest draws any champion could imagine. She arrived in Washington as an exciting young contender with enormous potential. She left as one of the biggest stories in women's tennis after defeating elite opponents one after another. Each match presented a new challenge, and each victory seemed even more impressive than the one before it. Her remarkable journey began against Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen, an opponent who had handed her a painful defeat years earlier. This wasn't just another opening round match. It was an opportunity to erase lingering disappointment and prove how much she had grown. After dropping the opening set, Alex refused to let the moment slip away. She adjusted her tactics, stayed patient under pressure, and slowly turned the match in her favor. Game by game, she wrestled back control before completing an inspiring comeback that announced she was ready for something special. Instead of focusing on personal revenge afterward, she once again thanked the supporters who had created such an unforgettable atmosphere, saying the incredible Filipino community made every victory even more meaningful. The next challenge came against defending champion Leila Fernandez, who had comfortably beaten Alex in an earlier meeting. On paper, it looked like another difficult obstacle. Early on, Alex played fearless tennis, racing through the opening set with confidence and precision. But champions are always tested, and the second set nearly slipped away as Fernandez built what appeared to be a commanding lead. Many players would have accepted defeat at that point. Alex chose a different path. She remained calm, trusted her game, and gradually fought her way back 1 point at a time. Momentum shifted dramatically as she reeled off game after game until the match reached a tiebreak. There, she played with complete belief, dominating the final moments to eliminate the defending champion. Reflecting on the comeback later, Alex explained that patience and mental strength had been the difference. Rather than panicking when the scoreboard turned against her, she focused on finding solutions, staying composed, and believing another opportunity would come. That mindset became the foundation of everything she accomplished during her unforgettable championship run, and it was becoming increasingly obvious that this remarkable journey was only getting started. By the time the quarterfinals arrived, it was becoming impossible to dismiss Alex's run as a lucky streak. Another elite opponent stood across the net, another top 10 player expected to end the dream. Elena Svitolina entered the match with years of experience and the reputation of one of the tour's toughest competitors. Many believed this would finally be the moment Alex's incredible journey came to an end. Instead, she delivered another statement performance. Calm under pressure and aggressive when the opportunities appeared, Alex controlled the match from the baseline, constantly forcing errors and breaking Svitolina's rhythm. She closed out another straight-set victory, proving that her earlier win over the Ukrainian had been no coincidence. Defeating one top 10 player is impressive. Doing it twice in just a matter of weeks sends a completely different message. Alex wasn't just competing with the best players in the world anymore. She was beating them consistently. Then came the semi-final everyone had been waiting for. Across the net stood Naomi Osaka, one of the biggest names in modern tennis, and a player whose achievements had inspired millions around the globe. The matchup felt symbolic in so many ways. Experience against youth. Explosive power against relentless consistency. Fans everywhere debated who would come out on top, expecting a dramatic battle that could swing either way. But once the match began, Alex played with remarkable composure. She absorbed Osaka's power, redirected the pace with confidence, and refused to allow the former world number one to dictate the rallies. Point after point, she stayed completely focused, never giving away momentum. Before anyone realized it, the match was over. Alex had earned another convincing straight-set victory, producing one of the finest performances of her career. Even after defeating one of the sport's biggest champions, she remained humble. She spoke with enormous respect for Osaka, calling it an honor to share the court with someone she admired for years. At the same time, she admitted she knew she couldn't lose concentration for even a second because players of that caliber can turn a match around instantly. That respect, combined with her fearless attitude, had become one of her greatest strengths throughout the tournament. Now there was only one obstacle remaining. One more victory would transform an unforgettable week into one of the greatest moments in Philippine sports history. Waiting in the final was world number 3 Jessica Pegula, another elite player, standing between Alex and the championship trophy. By then, the pressure was enormous. The title, the ranking points, and the biggest prize money of her career were all within reach. Yet Alex never looked overwhelmed. She played with the same confidence that had carried her through every previous round, trusting her game and refusing to let the occasion become bigger than the tennis itself. When championship point arrived, history belonged to her. Alex had completed one of the most remarkable tournament runs of the season, defeating elite opponents in consecutive rounds and becoming the first Filipina ever to capture a WTA 500 singles title. The victory also pushed her to a career-high ranking, confirming what tennis fans around the world had already begun to believe. A new star had officially arrived. Along with the trophy came the largest prize, check she had ever earned. More than $250,000 represented a life-changing reward for any athlete, especially one still at the beginning of an exciting career. Most conversations naturally shifted toward the money, wondering how she would celebrate such an incredible payday. But Alex's thoughts were somewhere else entirely. She kept returning to the same image that had motivated her throughout the week, the thousands of supporters who transformed every match into what felt like a